Well, it is May, you know. Eventually, by probably the middle of July, it'll warm up a touch.
So we are just about getting set to go with the first pitch of the ball game to the 25-year-old second baseman Ian Kinsler, who comes in hitting at .325, 9 homers and 27 driven in. And this young man has got the pedal to the metal most of the time. Rangers come in at 16-13, game and a half in first place in the West. As that pitch down low and the count 2-0. Kinsler was 1 for 3 last evening with a couple of RBIs. Texas won that ball game 6-0.
The last thing you wanted to do here is fall behind one of the league's better hitters.
Pulled his head off that one.
Kinsler, even with the left-hander on the mound, is one of their best stolen base threats. So you want to make sure you start off keeping him off base.
3-1 the count to Kinsler, who was 4 for 11 lifetime off Danks. And last time he saw Johnny, the first time up down at Arlington, he took him out of there for that home run. That's high into left field. Carlos broke back now, coming on now. Lexi seeing what's going on right there, makes the catch, and that's out number 1.
Well, it's a tough time to really get a good visual because it is dusk, and Carlos lost that ball. Fortunately, Alexi Ramirez has as much range as any shortstop in the game, and he realizes that Carlos is not going to get to it. You see him put up the right hand, telling Carlos, I've got that one all the way, and as it drifted into foul territory, he made the play.
That'll bring up the 41-year-old veteran Omar Vizquel. Vizquel off to a big start at .423. 11 hits. Last night was 2 for 5 with a couple of RBIs. Texas comes in hitting at .282 as a team with a 5.09 ERA.
Omar is hitting .600 from the right side. He's 6 for 10.
That's fouled away to the right side.
And really, they brought him in to teach Elvis Andrus how to play shortstop. Not that he can't play it, it's just that Omar played it probably as well as anybody who's ever played it. Certainly he's in the discussion defensively, and he's been a great mentor for their very young shortstop.
That's a great thing to do. Bring in a guy like Vizquel when you've got a promising young 20-year-old like Andrus, and you just can't go wrong there. As he strikes him out, so 2 down. No, those are things there that a lot of organizations do not do. And here's one. Vizquel, a Hall of Famer. There's no question about that. He is a Hall of Fame shortstop. And if he's not, then you might as well take about 3/4 of those guys who are shortstops in, take them out.
No, he'll make it because he's always been able to field, and got about halfway into his career and became a big factor with the bat.
Here's Marlon Byrd, the center fielder, hitting at .323. A couple of homers. He's driven in 16. Throws first pitch strikes. Does Johnny Danks. Byrd on a 7-game hitting streak. 1 for 5 last night. Curveball, and the count 0-2.
Well, he's shown so far early in this one he can get the straight changeover and the curveball as well as his fastball, and normally if he stays down with it, he's going to be in good shape.
That's a key word you just mentioned, Stone Pony. If he stays down, especially with that changeup, if he gets it up, he's got problems. But Johnny came into his own last year. The year before that, he missed up and out of the plate with that changeup and just got hammered. He gone. 1-2-3 inning for Danks, and after a half inning of play, it's the Rangers nothing and the Sox coming to bat.
Pasednik leading it off with Chris Getz hitting second, Carlos Quentin hitting third, Jermaine Dye in the cleanup spot, Jim Thome the DH, Paul Konerko at first base, A.J. Przinsky hitting seventh, Josh Fields hitting eighth, and the reemergence in the lineup of Alexei Ramirez hitting ninth. The defense and how they'll line up behind Millwood. Murphy, Bird, and Cruz left to right, Vizquel, Andrus, Kinsler, and Blaylock at first. Jared Saltalamacchi behind the plate and Kevin Millwood on the hill. Looking for his third loss, his ERA 2.78, his seventh start.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as Scotty Pod stands in hitting at 273. Takes first pitch strike from the 34-year-old, 6'4", 230-pound right-hander.
Pasednik has always had luck against Millwood.
Slowly hit. Andrus. And that's one out. Well, not too many left-handers this year have had very much luck against Millwood.
He changes speeds real well because gone are the days when he came up with Atlanta where he had the big fastball. Now he depends on changing speeds, throws a pretty good curveball still, but he's a guy that has to do it with more craft and guile than anything else.
Well, right-handers are hitting 269 off of it. Left-handers are hitting 160.
Usually that's the sign of a guy with a pretty good changeup.
You better believe it. First thing, that's the first thing when you look at numbers like that, first thing that pops in your mind, this guy can change speeds. Got a good changeup as here's Chris Getz hitting at 292. No homers, he's driven in 6. Chris 1 for 4 last evening.
Well, the outfield defense is set up because they believe that Chris is not going to pull the ball against Kevin Millwood. You've got Bird playing over into left center. You've got Nelson Cruz, who, by the way, has the best arm in the outfield by a long shot. He's way off the line into right center field. They're giving him left center. There you see the defense. And they're giving him the entire right field line.
And they're playing him perfectly. Murphy trying to surround it out there, does finally, and that's out number 2.
It's also a case of when you defend a hitter, the pitcher has to throw into the defense, and they were able to do it.
Here's Carlos Quentin. Carlos hitting at 233, 8 homers, 17 knocked in. He was 0 for 4 last evening. And right now, let's check out our picks to click tonight. Jim Angio, our Hall of Fame director, and the crew. They went with A.J. Przinsky, Lisa, Layla, Steve. They're going to go with Alexei Ramirez and all the mothers out there for tomorrow. Your day tomorrow. All the mothers. My beautiful wife, Aristea. Beautiful daughter, Krista. We're going to go with Jim Thome. Off the end of the bat. Vizquel's got him. That didn't take long. 1, 2, 3 after 1, no score. First pitch down low to Andruw Jones, hitting at 340, 3 homers. He's driven in 8. No score here in the top of the second inning. Softly hit. Alexei, as Jones not too quick out of the box.
Well, he fell.
Yeah.
And he took an off-balance swing and then fell right out of the box and realized at that point that he probably wasn't going to beat this one out. Still, you like to see a guy hustle a little bit more than that once he rights the ship.
You do. As here is Blaylock hitting at 245, 7 homers, 19 RBIs. And of course, those picks to click last inning brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Visit southwest.com today. Blaylock 0 for 3 lifetime off Johnny Danks. Did not play last evening. So you'd have to assume that a right-hander going last night, a left-hander going today, that maybe he was a little ouchy about something, or maybe he likes left-handers better.
Well, he's having a pretty decent year after an injury-plagued season last year.
Off the end of the bat, not hit hard. Got to hurry. No. And the ball goes into the dugout, so that will be a hit and a throwing error.
There's no way to plant your foot in time, so you have to throw on the run. And Getz does a nice job of getting to it, but then gets under the throw, just over the outstretched glove, and into the dugout.
Omar's always catching baseballs.
Yeah, you can't get out of the way of them,
no.
And they always stick. He never misses them.
I saw him pop up once in Cleveland, and I gave him a standing O.
He must be, because that might have been the one time he did it.
I couldn't believe it. Well, I saw Paul Blair drop a easy pop fly in center field one time. I saw Junior do that in Tucson. As Cruz can't get it. Nelson had a tough evening last night.
I would say so, but you always want to end it on a high note when you have 4 strikeouts, so he lifted that fly to right field just to make sure he didn't wind up with a 5-bagger. And this guy can hit.
Comes in hitting at 282, 7 homers. He's driven in 20. Outfield straight up, about equidistant. Two down.
There's some shadows in the outfield right now as the sun is peeking through, and of course you get the shadows because of the lights. You see, it's a little difficult in left field. Probably the toughest field to play right now is where Carlos Quentin is standing, because you don't want to move in and play more shallow than that. Although with Murphy up, I wouldn't be overly deep in left. Carlos is looking in like he wants to see where they're pitching him.
First pitch strike for the 27-year-old outfielder. He was 2 for 4 last night. Here at beautiful US Cellular Field, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straight away center. Big swing at a breaking pitch, and the count 0-2.
And the Rangers star Josh Hamilton is going to come back, but he's going to come back on Tuesday, which is good news for us and bad news for the rest of the American League. That guy can really hit.
The 0-2. He gone. 3 strikeouts for Johnny. After a half inning of play, nada.
shot of White Sox players and fans as they lend a hand in the community. And it was at 2 different venues, and they did a little painting. You can see a lot of players, a lot of coaches, Ozzie Guillen there. And they got right in and mixed with a lot of the fans to help out a lot of people who needed some help, and that's a good thing.
Over the years, White Sox charities have contributed and given grants out over $13 million to the community. As Jermaine Dye with a 1-1 count. Jermaine hitting at .292, 7 homers. He's driven in 16. That's up high. Jermaine has faced Millwood 22 times, has 4 hits, 3 of which have stayed in the park.
Millwood's only walked 8 in 46 in the 3rd inning.
Good take right there. Good pitch by Millwood, just off the outside corner to knees, and the count 3-1.
Well, this guy has good control. You figure this is going to be pretty hittable. He's walked 9. He's walked 9 now.
You don't expect a 3-1 pitch from Kevin Millwood to be that errant.
No, he missed it down by plenty. And here's one of the guys that we'd like to see get going. That's Jim Thome. He's a big key in the middle of this lineup, and right now he's not swinging the bat like he can.
Jimmy at 195, 4 homers, 14 knocked in, 0 for 4 last evening. Takes a breaking ball strike. Jimmy has hit Millwood hard. 6 at bats, 4 hits, 3 homers, 6 RBIs.
That's pretty good.
From a right-hander, that's a lot. Jimmy does that a lot. You know, you'll get a pitch middle in from a right-hander. Hits it hard, and if he does hit it hard, it's going to be foul.
Well, when he's right, he's going to drive the ball to left center field a lot, and right now he's just not right. Six games in a row, Kevin Millwood has gone at least 7 innings. And that's the kind of starter you need because it keeps you out of the bullpen and gives those middle and long guys the night off.
Fouls that back. Well, Millwood is the kind of pitcher that the new president of the Texas Rangers wants on his staff, and that's Nolan Ryan. Nolan was out there for 27 years. You're talking about, I'll tell you what, 2 records to me. As there's a good take by Thome. 2 records to me. They'll absolutely never even come close to be broken. Ripken's and Nolan Ryan's.
And one more. Cy Young.
Well, I'm talking about modern day. As he strikes him out.
Well, Ripken's has no chance because when you take a look at how many years in a row he played, and you realize how many injuries he had to play through, it's an amazing accomplishment. This something that you've got to be very lucky on one hand. You also have to be phenomenally durable, but you also have to have a very high pain tolerance. And we don't see a whole lot of that.
So here's Konerko. Paulie over 3 last evening, hitting at .301, 3 homers, 20 driven in, takes first pitch strike, says Lance Barksdale. Paulie also has hit Millwood hard, 9 for 21, and of the 9 hits, all of them have stayed in the park. Not a good swing right there from Konerko.
I just don't think at this point the visibility is conducive to good hitting. Now, it's not that you're not going to be able to hit the ball, but until the lights take hold, you're not going to see the spin of the curveball very well, and I don't think you can pick up a good changeup. That's going to change in about a half hour.
Well, the changeup from a hitting standpoint is relatively good. Watch out back through the middle into center field for a base hit. Now, JD is going to make the turn. Marlon Byrd with the throw. Safe.
Millwood got pretty lucky because he almost picked up a face burger for his efforts, and that ball was hit right back at him. That time he hung that breaking ball instead of the pitch before, which just disappeared. This one pretty much stayed up in the zone, and Paul didn't try to pull it. You see the curveball right over the middle of the plate, and that ball right by Kinsler. And the one guy you don't want to run too much on is Cruz. Murphy and Bird, you'll take your chances.
And here's Pierzynski. No, but the changeup is always tough, regardless of the lighting conditions. But the pitch that hitters have at this time of day, as you pointed out, that they have trouble with is the late breaking slider, late breaking curveball. Boy, when those late breakers, you got absolutely zero chance if they don't hang them like he hung that curveball right there. Trying to pitch in for the first two, missed, and the count 2-0. AJ 0 for 3 last night, 4 for 18 lifetime off Millwood. So the Sox have a golden opportunity right here. And the count 3-0. Turn him loose.
Jeff Cox puts up one finger. That normally is a sign to take one. That doesn't mean he's going to be taking, but that's normally the sign.
As a rule, it is. And there's ball 4 as he was taking. And it certainly appeared that Millwood was going to give AJ a chance to get himself out or go around it.
Ron Washington, the manager of these Texas Rangers, and Kevin Millwood in a jam here, and he's in a jam in one of the most unlikely ways for him, and that's with a couple of walks. We talked about the pinpoint control he's had most of this season. He came in with just 8 walks. That was in 6 starts. And he's had 2 early ones here.
Josh Fields stands in. Josh 1 for 4 last night, 1 for 4 lifetime off Millwood. And is averaging 1 for 4 on the season as he's hitting .250.
Well, AJ's got to get a good secondary lead at first base. Laylock is behind him. He's playing way off the line. And I talk about AJ because in a ground ball in the infield, AJ, if he can take out the pivot man, is going to get the Sox a run.
If AJ gets the chance to, he will.
I think Carlos Quentin and AJ probably go in at second base as hard as anybody in this league.
I agree. They are very good. And if, in fact, they can get there. Sox packed with Sox, 1 out. And the 1-1 pitch, a big pitch. Hit him on the fist. Watch out. Konerko evidently lost count of the outs. Gets doubled up. And that'll do it. Mercy. Jared Saltalamacchia will lead it off. Takes first pitch strike from Johnny Danks. 23-year-old switch hitting catcher. He's a big man. 6'4", 240. Hits that one. Fair ball. That time. 1 out.
Danks has a really good straight change tonight. And he got Saltalamacchia well out ahead of it. He's a switch hitter, better hitter from the right side. This time he just taps it down the line. And Fields throws him out easily at first.
It's always amazed me, Steve, how much more important the changeup is to the left-handed pitcher than it is to the right-handed pitcher. And another aspect of that being a young left-handed pitcher.
Well, you're facing, in a normal lineup, you're generally facing many more right-hand hitters than you are lefties. That's just kind of the way things work out. If you have a team that has good enough left-hand hitters to have at least 5 of them in the lineup, it's extremely rare in the major leagues. So a left-handed changeup is essential.
Well, it's gotten to the point now. If you look at all the left-handed pitchers, especially the young ones, wow, that guy took a header just trying to get a foul ball. Hope he's all right. But when Danks' changeup is working, he's hard to beat. When Clayton Richard, young left-hander on our staff, down in the bullpen for the fans out there who aren't familiar with him, when his changeup is on, he's very, very tough.
Well, look at last night with Matt Harrison. And he's thrown 2 games against the Sox this year. Has yet to give up a run.
14 innings.
Doesn't throw many curveballs at all. It just depends on fastball change. And he's just absolutely mystified Sox hitters.
And just 23 years old. So the reason I brought that up was for all you youngsters out there and your parents, your high school pitchers, and college pitchers, as you look at Matt Harrison, they don't necessarily need the big breaking curveball. They don't necessarily need that late breaking slider. You teach them how to throw the fastball and the change, and then later on as they mature, they can pick up the breaking pitch. But they can get by on a fastball and a changeup if it's a good one. As he walks the 9th place hitter.
Andrus has swiped 3 bases. Has yet to be caught. This entire Texas running club is 23 steals. They've been caught 4 times. Now, Andrus being a youngster, you would think he'd have a shot at picking him off first base if, in fact, he's going to take any kind of a lead. Right now, doesn't have that much of a lead.
He does now. He just took another step and a half. He's got a pretty good lead over there. Long set by Danks. Kinsler. Now Johnny will back it down.
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
A good base runner or a young base runner with a good coach is going to get what's called a one-way lead. He's going to get out a little farther than he normally would and try to induce John to give him his best move at first. If you can get back standing up, that means you can take a little bit more and try to get back head first next time. And he was leaning toward second base.
Well, idealistically, from our standpoint, as far as Andrus is going right here, what you would like to see him do is get way out there, because that ball's hit hard but foul, to where the only thing he was thinking about was, can I get back to first? Now that is a one-way lead that is not a good lead. It looks good. You've got a lot of space out there between you and the bag, but when you're thinking about trying to get back into first base, that's a bad lead.
You just want that pitcher to show you the best move he's got.
Yeah, exactly. If he can do that, then you got a leg up on him. But what a lot of guys will do, though, is they will try that one-way lead as you were talking about just a second ago. And once they see that good move, which that was Danks' good move, that first one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Then all of a sudden now they can shorten up that lead and they can get that momentum lead because they know they can get back, where they're thinking second rather than first.
Well, you have a lot of different styles of base running. And I remember Ricky Henderson having to deal with him. But the most surprising to me was Lou Brock having to deal with him because he hardly took any lead at all. His keys off a right-hand pitcher's move were so good that he could take a short lead. You would look over, think it was harmless, make a pitch, and he's standing at second base. Now that time he got to the point where he was out a little bit further, but he went back head first. And again, that time he got back a little more easily. See, he read that move all the way. And again, that wasn't John's best. That was just that step off and throw to first.
Ricky Henderson, greatest base stealer in the history of the game. Later on in his career, later years, would get a short lead, but always moving towards second. Always moving towards second. As that's popped up to right field. Jay, a long way to go. That's a foul ball. Thank you very much. Boy, from where I'm sitting, it looked like it was just fair.
Well, Brian Knight was right on the play, and he hustled out there, so give him credit for that. I think Ian Kinsler is thinking the same thing as you, Hawk. He thought that ball was fair. Now, J.D. can't get to it. The ball's slicing away from him. From that angle, we can't see if it hit the outside of the line, but the best look at it was Brian Knight.
And he said, his judgment.
Yeah, well, in this case, he was exactly right.
But, you know, in my era playing, the best I saw at stealing a base was Louis Aparicio, because the culture of the stolen base was entirely different then than it is now. Long set once again. He's doing the right things to try to deter a guy who can run. But Louis would take that short lead. But he only stole when he had to. He only stole when it was a very close ball game. Not today. Guys, today that's part of their arsenal. They steal bases at any time, any score. As that's popped up. Hyde's a long way to come. He's there, makes the catch.
Well, one of the differences is that we've seen, and this is not a coincidence, folks, but as the testing has taken hold, and we saw another example of it with Manny Ramirez, but as the testing has gotten more thorough in baseball, the stolen base, the hit and run, the small aspect of the game has come back. And so you're going to see more base stealers. You're going to see the technique of base stealing used much more effectively. And in the case of some of the great base stealers, staying low on their first step, that acceleration is what gets them there.
Well, Ricky Henderson was a poster child for that.
I was just going to say, first of all, if you took a look at his lower body, he was built like a sprinter. He had really muscular legs, very big thighs, and when he would take off, he would stay as low as he possibly could, and it was like a sprinter coming out of the blocks. He just accelerated and he just outran the baseball.
He had the greatest acceleration on one step of any person I've ever seen in the game. He's not the fastest guy I saw in the game, but his first step was acceleration. Mickey Mantle was the fastest guy I've ever seen in the game today, to this day. But his acceleration was not any like Ricky's. The 0-1 pitch, Vizquel, a bunt. Johnny got time, takes it, makes it, nice throw, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the third, still scoreless. Alexei Ramirez will lead it off here in the bottom of the third inning. Takes ball one. Alexei back in the lineup after sitting out for a few games, just sitting over there and watching and seeing that maybe this game is not quite as tough as he was trying to make it on himself. He just missed that one high into left field. I think what maybe got him started off on the wrong foot was in spring training.
In what respect?
Well, was it Alexei or was it Alexei?
Well, certainly he was a player to be named later, and he continues to be that. We're going to call him Alexei, and we'll find out how that works out for him. But Greg Walker thinks mechanically there's absolutely nothing wrong with him. I talked with him before the game, and he said mechanically he's right where we want him to be. He's not wrapping the bat. He's doing a lot of things right. He just has to regain his confidence.
Well, he's been in between, and I agree with Greg 100%. Yeah, physically there's nothing wrong with him. It's just the thought process. When you're in between as a hitter, that's the worst spot you can be. And unfortunately, as we've discussed, that's where most hitters live most of the year. Now, they come out when they get hot in those hot streaks. They're not in between. But Alexei has been in between virtually all season long. And that's when you're out in front of the breaking ball and you're late on the fastball. You swing at the bad ones, you take the good ones.
That puts you in a hole.
You know, I was just thinking in the break there, though, Stone Pony. That was a great point you brought up about with testing and everything going on today, how the stolen base is going to come back into vogue.
Well, the stolen base and the fact that you're going to have guys that make contact and use the hit and run a bit more.
That is just foul.
And I think with the good teams, you're going to see that because guys are going to have to learn how to really play the game the way it's supposed to be played instead of just sitting back and playing slug ball.
Millwood trying to be persistent in there. And the count 2-2. Again, just missing.
Lance Barksdale thought that one was up. That ball had the plate, but it was a little too high. And Saltalamacchia is having a few words with him. I think Kevin Millwood wanted that one.
Ball for base hit right here. 22. Nope.
Book a White Sox group outing or party area today. You can save on each ticket for a group of 20 or more fans. Warning track, fan deck, or individual game diamond suites available. Book a group outing or party area today. Call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com.
Chris Getz popped up to left field. Vizquel, even with the bag off the line as Chris takes strike one. Minnesota leading Seattle 2-0. Bottom of the third, Minneapolis.
Minnesota killed them last night.
Yeah, Seattle's been going through a tough time since they left us.
He got hit in the leg with that one, and hopefully he'll be okay. Millwood tried to cut the fastball low and in, and that might have got him off the side of the knee because he is walking gingerly right now. Herm Schneider out there. And Chris is just getting his opportunity to play. This hit him on the outside of his right knee. Ooh, that got him square, but he's getting his opportunity to play every day, and assuming that that's not a serious injury, you're going to have to pull him out of there with a crane.
Well, unless something is fractured or whatever, that's not going to get him out.
No, he's going to stay in there, but
when you get hit like he just fortunately, it was just a little below that. But sometimes when you're running, it takes a lot of the pain out rather than just standing there. So he says he's okay. Blaylock gives his condolences. Says, hang with him, kid.
Yeah, I've been hit there myself. Although it's not hurting me right now, I empathize with you. Now, Saltalamacchia doesn't throw as well as Taylor Teagarden, but he's really improved his defense behind the plate. That was one of the knocks on him last year. But I still think this combination of Millwood and Saltalamacchia, you might be able to steal a bag on them, although you'd figure with Carlos up, you don't want to run yourself out of this inning.
That's the first hitter that Millwood's hit all year. And here's Carlos. He grounded out to Vizquel at third. And as a rule, when a guy gets hit by a pitch, he wants to steal second base. Fouls that one back. They're getting back to Seattle. They're on a 5-game losing streak.
It's been pretty tough for them recently.
They came into here. They were a first-place ball club.
Yes, they were, and we've run into a few of them.
Everybody we've played this year has been playing the best that they have played all year.
We even caught Baltimore when they were pretty hot. You might remember they got off to a very fast start before reality set in. Now they're in last place. They trail a combination of Boston and Toronto by 7 games.
That ball hit into left center field. Stretch! Get on back there. Off the top of the fence. So Getz is being waved around. Here's the throw by Andrus. Safe! Sox lead at 1-0 on the double by Carlos Quentin.
That'll make that leg feel a little bit better. RBI number 18 for Carlos. He hit that ball almost out of the ballpark. A low inside fastball, and Carlos tattoos it. A little bit warmer, that ball's out of the park. But a pretty nice job of stopping it by Bird. He makes a decent relay. But if you're a third base coach, you not only have to know the arm strength of the center fielder, but you have to know the arm strength of the guy who is taking the relay throw. And they ran on Andrus and beat the play easily.
Breaking ball strike to Jermaine, who drew a walk leading off last inning. Just the second double for Quentin this year. That's off the fist into center field. Bird's going to get that one, and that'll retire the side, but the Sox get on the board first. They lead at 1-0.
We've been hit 15 times. We've hit 5 guys.
Yeah.
That's 3-1.
Marlon Byrd will lead it off here in the top of the 4th inning. And, of course, the 4th inning is brought to you by Taco Bell's 4th Meal, the meal between dinner and breakfast. Open till 1 a.m. or later. That is Lisa Stone's favorite place.
She just loves that place. 4th meal or 5th or 6th meal. Hope she's not listening.
You're pushing it a little bit now, Stoney.
Well, she's coming up to join us in Toronto, get her first look at the city north of the border.
She's going to love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful,
gorgeous city.
Beautiful place.
Yes, it is. Reminds me so much of Chicago. Sister cities. He gone. Gas. Second time he has struck out. 4th on the evening for Danks.
And this is more the John Danks that we became accustomed to last year. I think he's thrown a couple of good games this year, but consistently he hasn't been at the top of his game. His stuff tonight is as crisp as we've seen all year.
Final in the American League earlier today, Tampa Bay just thumped the Red Sox 14-5. And I want to send out a big, buddy, we miss you. Everything's going to be fine. And hope you get to feeling better soon, to Jerry Remy.
You know, we have a very small fraternity, Hawk, and when guys going through what Jerry's going through, you can only wish him well and a speedy recovery.
He's a fighter. He's a big-time fighter. Them Dog's a good man. Known him a long time. 2-1 pitch. Jones grounded out to Alexei.
And you'd like to keep this one at 3-1 away from Jones. You know, in 2005 he hit 51 home runs.
And that's going to be over the dugout right side, Souvenir. So a full count.
I don't think that Rudy Jaramillo, their fine hitting coach, did a whole lot with him mechanically. It's just a question of convincing him that he could be the guy that he was in Atlanta, not the guy that he became with the Dodgers, because that guy couldn't do much of anything. Very disappointing year. In fact, to let him go, they had to eat the better part of $22 million over a number of years.
How can you expect to have a good year when you come in as heavy as he was?
Well, that's true, but he was heavy as last year with the Braves.
There's that change up. You'll grab some bench. 2 down. But when you come in that heavy, then what your norm is or was, you're not only cheating yourself, you're cheating your team.
And I thought, Hawk, the last year he was with the Braves, I watched him try to hit every ball out of the ballpark. He hit .222, and he just kept opening up and trying to hit home runs because he felt that was a way to get paid. Well, he didn't do it and still got paid.
Well, if you hit .222, that's okay. If you hit 30 home runs and driving 100.
Well, he wasn't doing that at that point.
2-0 the count. To Blaylock, who had a soft infield single. There's a strike. Good 2-0 pitch right there.
Michael Young, who's in the game most every game, is out, and he's got some lower back stiffness.
Well, he's one of my favorite players to watch. He is, to me, one of the most under the radar players in the game of baseball.
Well, 4 times he's had over 200 hits.
That's foul back.
But he also gives, and I know that his back is bothering him and he couldn't start, but he gives Ron Washington a pretty potent bat off the bench to come and pinch hit late. So
not as good as it gets.
Just because he's not starting doesn't mean that you might not see him tonight.
Payoff pitch. That ball laced deep in the left center field. Quentin going back. He's there right in front of Harold Baines and brings it in. That'll retire the side. 1-2-3 inning for Danks, and he leads it 1-0.
The big sluggers on a tear versus Texas in his last 15 games. Tomey's hitting .479 with 8 homers and 20 runs batted in.
That ball hit hard. Stay in the air. Stretch. He looks up. It's off the top of the wall. A humpback line drive. So the leadoff double for Tomey. Boy, that ball got out there and just nosed over.
Unfortunately, that one went out with topspin. And what looked like a ball that was going to carry out of the ballpark hits high off the wall as Millwood tries to cut this inside, and Jim Tomey got it right where he needed it, thigh high on the inner portion. Cruz goes back, it hits high off the wall. Tomey cruises into second.
So he is now 5 for 8 lifetime off Millwood with 3 homers. And here's Konerko, has a job to do. Paulie got a hanging curveball laced to single right back through the middle as he makes a good pitch on him right there.
Well, you'd have to think that he wants to make up for that base running blunder. Nobody feels worse about it than Paul does. Getting doubled off on a very soft little looper in the second inning.
That's not going to be able to get it done. So that is out number 1.
There's Jim Tomey, almost adding to that. That just missed being his 9th home run. And he is indeed moving forward.
Here's AJ. AJ walked. Millwood was going around him back in the second inning. That walk led to a bases loaded situation, and then Josh popped up to the second into that 4-6 double play.
Well, so far Millwood hasn't wanted any part of AJ.
AJ 4 for 18 lifetime. Watch out. Fires that one back up into the seats. So the count 1-1. Toronto beat Oakland today 6-4. Top of the 4th in Cleveland. No score as the Indians host the Tigers. Baltimore leading the Yankees 8-0. Bottom of the second inning. Boy, the Yankees really scuffled. They won the game last night over the Orioles, but overall they've just been really scuffling.
Well, that was Sabathia last night, and he's finally starting to throw the ball the way they thought he was going to throw it when they gave him $160 million.
Softly hit, and they're going to double up Tony. So we get 2 of our veterans on soft infield flies doubled up at second base. Meanwhile, we'll go to the 5th. It is 1-0 good guys. Big swing and a miss on the first pitch from Johnny Danks to Nelson Cruz, leading off here in the top of the 5th inning. Cruz 0 for 1, grounded out to Alexei Ramirez at short. As the count now 0-2. 1-3-1 for our Sox. 0-1-0 for their Rangers. Outfield spread out. That ball just ripped on a 0-2 pitch by Josh Fields. So the leadoff double.
Well, Cruz has had all kinds of problems in this series with changeup or breaking balls, and this time he got a fastball low and in. I think John was trying to cut it and keep it well off the plate, but it rattles around, and there's a tying run out at second base. Now we'll see if the Rangers can hit situationally where the Sox weren't able to do it.
David Murphy struck out. They're going to try to bunt situationally, and they couldn't do that right there. Well, so the count 0-1.
He stabbed at that ball, and just because you have the bunt, you got to make sure the ball's in the zone, and that one was well out of the zone.
Josh in on the grass at third. Outfield swung around to the left. Paulie even with the bag and off the line at first. After that first attempt, I don't blame Ron Washington.
He took it off. Said if that's the best you can do, we're going to have to work another plan. John Danks wants a strikeout here and can get one by throwing a nice cutter low and away from him.
One and two the count. Stay right out there, maybe with a curve ball, take a little something off of it. That's on the outside corner, bullseye. He gone. One out.
This is a real good pitch. AJ sets up away. What I like about this is AJ set up with the glove off the plate. You want to have maybe the thumb of your catcher's glove on the outside corner, which gives you about 4 inches of glove where you still have the thumb of the glove on the corner. You're extending that 17-inch plate and getting your pitcher a much better shot at it.
Well, the guy who did that the best I've ever seen anybody do it was the guy you threw to, Rick Dempsey.
Did it real well on both sides.
He was the best I ever saw doing it. He would set a little bit of an angle. His thumb would have the glove. I mean the plate. And he stole more pitches than any catcher I've ever seen.
Well, you can throw it into the glove, and the glove just has the edge of it over the corner. But that gives it a 21-inch plate.
That's off the body right there of Salta Lamaki. And while we have a moment, I want to send out a big White Sox hello and get well soon to Chuck Labrizzi, who's recuperating at Loyola Hospital. And Chuck, get better, buddy, and we'll see you at the ballpark.
This is your chance to win an autographed Gavin Floyd jersey, and tell the White Sox what you think. Simply log on to your computer, take a quick survey. Your answers are confidential. Visit whitesox.com/survey. You must complete the survey before tonight's game ends.
So one out. Cruz at second. 0-2 the count. And hitters hate for you to come back in there again after they have just fouled one off their shin bone. That's high.
I used to love that. Just want to see if he's okay. It's not that you'd like to see him followed off the same exact spot 2 or 3 times in a row.
Well, since I've gotten to know you quite a bit better, I believe you mean what you say.
I think that, it's just a test.
On the fist, fights it off. Boy, I'll tell you, when left-handers used to do that to me and I'd foul one off my foot or my toe, I'd get up after I walked it off for about 5 minutes, and I'd be thinking, please don't come back in there again. Please don't come back in there.
It's the only guys with quick hands can foul that ball right off their foot.
Yeah.
I never did that until after I retired, and it was in a batting cage. And my God, does that hurt.
Yeah. He gone. Yes.
Good high fastball after setting him up with some low cutters. And Saltalamacchia just overpowered. Perfect spot, inner portion. He's got a big swing from both sides of the plate, but that time he was a little tardy.
So Elvis Andrus, who walked, the only walk issued by Johnny Danks back in the third. Curveball strike. And let's check out our U.S. Cellular text poll question. Believe in something better. And we'll show you this after the pitch. Will the White Sox finish the season with a winning home record? A yes, B no. Just text A or B to 97999 and watch for the results later in the ball game. All the good folks at U.S. Cellular. Change up down. Two balls and a strike. This is the man you want. You got Ian Kinsler on deck.
And with a .299 on base percentage, Andrus doesn't walk very much. Although he's the only man that John has walked tonight.
2-2. Back to the middle base hit. This game is tied at 1. Got that pitch up out over the plate. Nice pitch to hit, and he hit it. So a couple of bad pitches in this inning by Johnny. The 0-2 pitch to Cruz, and then that one right there, Stevie.
Well, A.J. wanted it inside, and unfortunately John got this ball out over the plate. Andrus took it right back up the middle. And it's that particular concept that Greg Walker wants Alexei Ramirez to work out. He wants him to take that pitch and take it right back up the middle. That's the biggest hole on the infield. And if you can do that, eventually you're going to start to hit the ball all over.
So here's Kinsler. He's popped up to short, and he is popped up to center. Just got back in. Looked for a second like they were going to get him.
Well, he was going on first move, and they missed by an eyelash. Brian Knight said the tag came after the hand got back in. A.J. looking over into the dugout to see if they might want to pitch out.
The last time Kinsler, when Andrus was on first base and they were paying a lot of attention to him, had a couple of pretty good pitches to hit and finally popped it up. Late call right there by Lance Barksdale. Kinsler thinking the same thing, but the count 0-1. Some hitters don't like that. Some hitters do not like a guy on first base that can run, that they're going to continually be working on him. Other guys that they care less. There he goes. And Kinsler with another pretty good pitch to hit right there, fouls it off.
Well, that time at 0-1, you're not going to take a pitch to let a guy steal a base. 1-0, with the jump that Andrus got, I figure you can afford to take it. But this is one of the league's best hitters, and Kinsler is off to another red-hot start.
Pretty good lead. He's got another good lead over there.
Well, this used to be one of the best pitches to run.
Johnny really unloading in a hurry.
Yeah, that was if not a quick pitch, just a good slide step, and he threw a changeup that Kinsler barely got a piece of.
Well, one of the things you want to do, the last thing, is use that little quick motion right there and throw him a fastball right to that, because he's going to be ready for that.
That's true.
Big kick right there, and that ball's hammered foul. One of the best I've ever seen at that. Giving you that little quick pitch was a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. Pitched for Minnesota, White Sox, among other teams. Jim Cott. The kid who won 273 games. And it was tough to steal on him. He would use so many different moves out there.
Well, later in his career, I don't think there was anybody quicker to the plate because it seemed like he didn't even stride. In fact, when I got to the White Sox for the first time in 1973, Jim Cott was here. Johnny Sain had helped him resurrect his career. He adopted that really unusual stretch, and he was as quick as anybody in delivering the ball. I think it was close to impossible to run on.
Well, they're trying, what Washington's trying to do here is he gets him so Kinsler appears he doesn't like that. All that attention being paid. Meanwhile, we're halfway home, tied at 1. Sednick to face Kevin Millwood here in this 1-1 tie. 1-3-0 for them, 1-3-1 for us. Josh hit a little flare to the second baseman. And they doubled up Konerko at second. Just off the outside corner.
We'll take a look at a couple of mental mistakes that hopefully will not come back to haunt the White Sox. You can excuse any physical error there is because they're going to happen. But the mental mistakes are the things that really cause you problems.
Made a good pitch on him. And the count evens at 2. Andrus, low throw. 1 out. So that'll bring up Alexi. He popped up to left field, but he was all over just underneath it.
Well, Andrus made a throw from the outfield that wasn't very good, and that throw was in the dirt, and after he threw it, he was flexing his right arm. So I'm wondering if it's bothering him somewhat. And if it is, then you can run on any relay he's going to make.
First pitch strike on the outer half. Atlanta beat the Phillies 6-2 at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Milwaukee leading the Cubs 3-0, top of the 4th at Miller Park. Dodgers continue to roll. They shut out San Francisco 8-0 at home. Quite a story they got going at home.
They are a dominating club in that division. They're 13-2 now, 14-2 at home.
Big curveball, buckled his knees, came back, caught the plate, and that's out number 2.
Well, I think Alexei thought that this ball was up. You can understand why he would think that. It was face high. Now again, it doesn't matter where the catcher catches it, and I'm sure Lance Barksdale felt that Saltalamacchia caught it as a strike. It just didn't come over the plate as one.
Odds twice has gone out to Andrus at shortstop. Fouls that one back. Sox, if you're just tuning in, with 1 1/3. And the Rangers just tied the top half of this frame. Second of a 3-game set. And the finale tomorrow afternoon, Bartolo Colon against Vicente Padilla. And that game will be over Comcast Sportsnet. And after the game, is that another ground ball to shortstop. And a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the 6th, tied at 1.
tell you the story how he got to Philadelphia. You know what?
First pitch to 41-year-old veteran Omar Vizquel. Swung on and missed. Vizquel is struck out. And then he tried to bunt. And Johnny made a good play on him. Threw him out at first. A 1-1 tie here in the top of the sixth.
Well, the play that Danks made was so good because although he barehanded the ball, he didn't rush the play. He knew he had some time and then made a good solid throw. So many times you see a guy rush to the ball, he gets there and he's not under control, then goes the bare hand pickup and can't make it.
2-2. Well, that was just like that base hit that Blaylock beat out back in the second inning. Because that's deflected, slowed up, and that's going to be a base hit.
Well, I know that it's a natural tendency to try to knock the ball down, but if he lets that ball go, it's probably going to be played because Ramirez and Getz were closing on it. You also don't want to reach up with your pitching hand. And this is a one-hopper. From the Southwest RoboCam, we'll take a look for all you young pitchers at what not to do when a ball goes back through the middle. Wind up losing a very valuable man for a long period of time if it catches that index finger the wrong way.
Or hits off the middle of that middle finger.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a good habit.
Here's Bird. He has 2 strikeouts. Starts him off with a good motion and pulls the string. Good changeup. Nothing into the count. Outfield slightly to the right, gap out there in left center. Bird, 31-year-old veteran.
Ron Washington told me emotionally he might be the toughest guy on this team because he's been through a whole lot to get where he is. This is a guy that bounced up and down between Philadelphia and Scranton. Sent down even farther than that to Reading. Came back, spent some time with Washington, New Orleans, and now he's pretty much found a home with Texas where he's done nothing but hit.
Pulls the string on him again. He gone. 8 strikeouts for Danks.
Johnny's had some terrific motion and release point with that straight change. He's had this very good hitting Ranger team well out in front of just about every straight change he's thrown.
Here's Andruw Jones, a grounder to short and a strikeout. Got him on a changeup. Takes first pitch strike. On the inside corner. That's a nice right there. And the count 0-2. Make that 9 strikeouts for Johnny Danks.
89 pitch mark. This will be the 90th.
Tried to sneak that one by him upstairs. Jones would have no part of that. Well out in front. Hooks it foul.
Vizquel stole his first base of the year last night. I don't think he's going against John Danks.
No, he saw him work over Elvis Andrus out there and decided he's just going to stay right where he's at. Just got a piece of that one.
And although Vizquel is still a marvel at 42 years old, he's still able to play middle infield. He's playing third base tonight because Young is not 100%. But with the cold conditions, 42-year-old legs don't work quite as well as they probably did a little earlier in his career.
That's low and inside. Boy, he's been a good player. Wow. Well, as I mentioned, he's a Hall of Famer. Skell came up in '89 with the Mariners.
Who couldn't live without Felix Fermin. Brian Knight said no. The umps in the stands thought that that was a strike. I think AJ thought it was a strike. We'll take another look at it. Good breaking ball, and it appeared to me like he went around on it.
From up here where I said, I thought he checked it up. But the 2-2. That is a tough call for the first base umpire. Or the third base umpire for a left-hander.
Well, you got to check to see if that bat head goes over the plate.
Ten strikeouts for Johnny.
That straight change has been as close to unhittable as we've ever seen it from John Danks tonight. That's a new career high. But you can bet, as young as he is, he's going to be in double figures many more times before it's over for him.
Hank Blaylock checks it up. Blaylock had that infield single. But getting back to the infield single, you're talking about how Johnny came in and didn't come in so hard that he just could not make a play on it. Well, the same thing holds true on that ball that gets as there he takes off. Caught him napping right there, so he picks up his second steal.
Well, there's a veteran, because John had just completely forgotten about him, trying to concentrate on Blaylock. Vizquel saw that he really wasn't looking at him. He was going on first move. And even with a low throw, he's not going to get him.
Well, the greatest second base shortstop combination I've ever seen, bar none, was Roberto Alomar and Omar Vizquel. I mean, those, besides the physical talent, they both did not miss a trick. Robbie Alomar was one of the great players this game has ever seen. And that's hit right to Alexei. Sucks it up, throws him out, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the sixth. Still tied at 1.
Tonight's Walgreens VIP is Dan Menard. After the game, listen to 670 The Score for your chance to be the Walgreens VIP for a day, including a Walgreens Affordable Essentials prize pack and a pair of tickets to a White Sox home game. It's brought to you by Walgreens, the pharmacy America trusts.
Chris Getz will lead it off here in the Sox half of the 6th inning. Chris is 0 for 1. Last time up was hit just below the right kneecap on a cutter from Millwood, and he came around to score. That ball into left field. You don't want to see Chris hitting fly balls. Meanwhile, 1 out, and that'll bring up Carlos Quentin, who knocked in Getz with that double.
I feel the same way about Brent Lillibridge, who is a similar type player in that when they hit the ball in the air, they're doing the opposition a favor.
You know, there have been so many players in that category, so to speak. And a lot of them have remained in the big leagues and become good players after they learned certain things. But sometimes when you get a young player who has just enough power to where he can hit the ball out in batting practice, it makes him, it puts him in that danger zone of becoming a bad hitter.
I call him a home run hitter with warning track power.
Right. No, they can hit the ball out of the park, but they're not going to hit it out of the park unless they just dead center it. I mean, absolutely, a big swing by Carlos. So that becomes a very dangerous thing to have, and they have to learn that, hey, I can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but I've got to hit it perfectly to do so. That means I'm not going to hit it perfectly that often. That means I've got to become a line drive or a ground ball type hitter. And if they can't learn that, as that ball hit down into the left field corner, one hops that State Farm sign. So the second double for Carlos.
And that gives you an example of just how strong Carlos Quentin really is, because he just flicked that ball almost one-handed. Watch it again. It's a good curveball. He just flicks it and one hops the wall at the 330 mark. No chance at all for Murphy to get this one. And so Carlos represents a go-ahead run. Now it's up to Dye and or Thome to make him pay. I get a feeling that if he can get by Dye, he'll probably pitch around Thome.
Jermaine has walked and gone out to center, and that's top foul. Well, we had a guy here that the Sox were afraid that might have that mentality, and he was a very strong guy. In fact, he has as strong hands as anybody on our team, and could hit the ball a long way. But he was not a home run hitter, and that was Juan Uribe. And when Juan tried to hit home runs, he really became a bad hitter.
No, but he could hit it a long way. But he'd have to get it. He'd have to get it exactly right.
It had to be in his zone, and he had to just square it up perfectly. Well, that's not a home run hitter. Guys who are home run hitters don't have to hit it perfectly. They can just muscle it out of the ballpark, and they can muscle it out to right field, center, or left, wherever it may be. As that ball hit hard in the center field. Bird broke in, now goes back, can't make it up. So here comes Carlos. He's going to score on the double by Jermaine, and the Sox take a 2-1 lead.
Well, that's a misplay and a bad read by Bird. So Jermaine hit that ball as hard as you can hit it. But Bird broke in and then froze and then finally took off and had no shot on the forward drive of the game. Comes off the bat of Jermaine Dye. Run batted in number 17. But more important than that, it gives the Sox the lead. By the time Bird actually caught up and caught sight of the baseball, it was too late.
So here's Thome. Sox now with 2 runs on 5 hits. 4 of those 5 hits are doubles. Thome had one of them, leading off the 4th. He just hit a humpback line drive high off that fence in right field.
Well, I know that Kevin Millwood, who's been around a long time, knows that Thome's had real good luck against him. You have first base open. If Jim gets one to hit here, it'll probably be a mistake by Millwood.
Or a good guessing job by Thome. Sometimes in situations like this, you get a couple of veterans, and they both know what's going on. And Jimmy knows You know, he might sit on a pitch maybe 4 or 5 inches outside. He might sit on a breaking ball. But he's not going to. Last thing he's going to be looking for is something good to hit. He's going to have to make it good for him to hit. And he takes it right there.
They threw him a 2-1 straight change. Just kind of lollipopped over. Matt Thornton getting ready in the bullpen. The pitches have piled up on John Danks. Normally, if Thornton's getting ready now, he's coming into the game.
Checks it up.
That was not a good call by Mike Winters.
No.
And Jim is just shaking his head. Watch it from the side. He did not swing at that.
No. Bird shallow in center. Yeah, but sometimes guys, especially on a 3-0 count, they might, against certain pitchers, sit on a pitch that's not going to be a strike. So a full count. Now again, the last thing that Tommy is going to be looking for is a fastball in the zone to hit here. Well, so if that's the last thing he's going to be looking for, Millwood might be thinking the same thing and throw one right down there, which I doubt very seriously.
I'd be shocked.
Me too.
I think it's coming low and away or low and in.
Probably low and in. And that's in, not low. And that is ball 4.
Well, I'm not sure he threw him a strike in that sequence except for the straight change on 2-0. But he invited Jim, if he wanted to get himself out. And Jim just said, I think I'll take the walk.
Here's Paulie, a single. And then he was trying to get Tommy over back in the 4th inning and hit a little comebacker to Millwood. That's a souvenir right side. Baltimore now leading the Yankees 11-1. Come on, 14 need you, buddy. That evens the count. Guy at second, Tommy at first. Big pitch here. And Paulie gets the advantage. 2-1 to count with Pierzynski on deck. This next pitch will be the 86th run up to home plate by Millwood. Good eye. Good take right there. Just off the plate.
Well, that's when you're seeing the ball real well, because that ball was probably just high enough, but just a touch off the outside corner. And Paul saw that one all the way. That ball was 2 inches off the plate.
Now he hits him on the fists, pops him up into left center field. So 2 out, and here comes AJ.
Want to win the ticket game? Call 866-STUBHUB or go to StubHub.com. It's fast, easy, and safe. The official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago White Sox.
AJ has walked. Then he hit a little looper to second base back in the 4th inning that Thome got doubled up on.
That's a big run out at second base. First to Jermaine Dye. Give the Sox a 2-run lead if AJ can come through.
Takes first pitch strike. Off-speed pitch. Hit him on the fist, right to the bag, and that'll retire the side. So he pitches out of it, but we do pick up a run. The double by Quinton, the double by Dye. Sox lead at 2-1.
Matt Thornton comes into the game. It's 2-1 Sox. And Matt on for the 13th time. A fine 2.70 ERA. A 1-1 record. And there you look at the numbers. 17 strikeouts in 10 innings.
Nelson Cruz will lead it off. Takes first pitch strike on the inside corner. Cruz is 1 for 2. Got an 0-2 pitch from Johnny Danks. Laced it down into the left field corner for a double and came around to score with 2 out on the single by Elvis Andrus. That's out of play, and very quickly to count 0-2. And checking some of our White Sox minor league report stats. Charlotte lost last night 7-5 at Rochester. Josh Kroger, who got off to just a horrendous start, now really coming on. Went 3 for 5 with an RBI. Got a 9-game hitting streak. Birmingham, they won 14-9 at Montgomery. C.J. Rutherford went 3 for 5 with a double, 2 home runs, drove in 5.
2 home runs with that short stroke.
Yeah. And has collected at least 1 hit in 14 of his last 16 games. Birmingham 19-8 in first place down there.
Well, they've got an astonishing amount of talent, and that bodes well for the future right here in Chicago.
Well, Gordon Beckham hitting at .303 in his first professional season. Brandon Allen got off to a terrible start, hitting at .299, 4 homers, 16 RBIs. Tyler Flowers, catcher, hitting at .288, 4 homers, 16 ribbies. Stefan Gartrell, .286, 6 homers, 16 RBIs, and of course Rutherford at .329, 5 homers and 17 RBIs.
Pretty impressive. There's a guy that does get every ounce of his ability out of himself.
Payoff pitch, and that's foul back. Also, John Ely down at Birmingham, 4-0 with a 2.63 ERA. Brian Almagroso, 3-0 with a 2.18 ERA, and Aaron Pareda, 2-3, but he's got a 1.65, and of course he just threw a rain-shortened no-hitter. Yeah, there's a ton of talent in that Birmingham club. And of course, Jordan Danks, Johnny Danks' brother, down at Winston-Salem, hitting at .330, 2 homers, 19 RBIs, as that's fouled back. And he's also 5 for 6 in stolen bases.
I was going to say, not only can he hit the ball out because he's a big young man, but he's got tremendous speed.
And Christian Morero hitting at .363 down there with 3 homers and 15 ribbies. Henry Maybe 3-0 with a 2.93 ERA. He gone. Breaking ball. He'll grab some bench for out number 1.
That's the 11th Ranger to strike out tonight. 10 of them by John Danks. And a good slider right over the middle of the plate. And Cruz just got outguessed. He was looking for anything but that.
So here is David Murphy, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Down at Kannapolis, we got a couple of guys. Guy I mentioned to you to keep your eye on, Dexter Carter, in 5 starts, 1-0 with a 1.98 ERA. 27 innings, he's got 32 strikeouts and only walked 8. 22-year-old right-hander.
Big right-hander.
6-6. Daniel Hudson, 1-2 with a 1.23 ERA. In fact, Daniel was named the South Atlantic League Pitcher of the Week, giving up 2 hits while striking out 13 over 7 scoreless innings. So we've got some good things. When I say some good things, better things since I've been with the White Sox happening at the minor league level.
Well, usually, and I know that a lot of players will come from AAA and get to the major leagues, but usually the major prospects are sitting down there at AA.
That's the norm.
They've gone through the weeding out process of rookie ball and A ball, and by the time they get to AA, they're guys that will probably spend some time in the major leagues, and we've got some guys down there that will not only spend some time, but they're going to be stars.
Well, Kenny has had to trade for some of them, sure, but now there's some changes been made. Doug Lawman, who's now the director of amateur scouting, and his staff have done some good things as he strikes out for the 3rd time, 2 down. And then, of course, you've got the man running things, the director of player development, which is so important.
That's of critical importance, and that's Buddy Bell, a guy who was a tremendous player, knew how to play the game, comes from a baseball family, and wanted to work with youngsters. I mean, he'd got everything you could get out of the major leagues. He was a manager a couple of times, a good one at that, and he wanted to work with the young kids. And I think the White Sox are the beneficiaries of a great baseball mind.
There's a base hit by Salta Lamacchia. So Jared now 1 for 3. Well, as I said, there's some good things. The best things. I've been over a quarter of a century here with the White Sox, and this is by far the best scenario that I've seen. And as you mentioned, it does bode well for the future because of all that good. We got some good young arms down here, some good players. As here is Elvis Andrus, who has walked and singled in a run, the run for Texas. Yeah, Gordon Beckham's going to be he's going to be a horse.
I think he's going to be a big-time run producer. Position yet to be determined, but offensively, he's going to be able to do it.
Well, the thing about it, when you say position yet to be determined, a lot of people might construe that as being, well, he's just a good hitter. That is not the case at all.
No, it's just that the needs of the ball club are going to determine where he can play. He can play probably anywhere in the infield. It depends on what the big club needs at the time he's ready to come up.
It depends on what Getz is doing, what Alexei is doing, what Josh is doing.
And you never really know. until you get to the point where the minor leagues has taught Gordon all he needs to learn.
Hey, you didn't want to do that. This is the second time the ninth place hitter has walked, and you're getting Ian Kinsler coming to the plate. Now, the last two times Kinsler came to the plate, Andrus was on first base. Danks was doing a lot of work on Andrus at first, and Kinsler didn't like it.
No, I think he got over anxious in both situations because John Danks did a very nice job of varying his times. He'd go to first, he'd use different moves, he'd hold the ball, he'd quick pitch, he did just about everything you could do to try to contain the running game. Now Don Cooper goes out there and he gives a bit of a pep talk to Matt Thornton. You have to deal with one of the league's best when you allow a 20-year-old 4 straight bad ones. So that's a tying run out at second base. And Ozzie knows that at this point, Kinsler becomes the biggest out of the game.
And you have to be more conventional with him. So Kinsler now is at a pace that he enjoys. We just have to hope that there's a residual from his previous 2 at-bats.
Well, Matt Thornton throwing an easy 95, 6, or 7. Got that ball well in on Kinsler's hands.
Kinsler 9 homers and 27 driven in. Checks it up and takes ball 1. 2-5-1 for our Sox, 1-5-0 for their Rangers here in the top of the 7th inning. Kinsler, one of the most aggressive. We got 2 of the most aggressive hitters in the American League in this game tonight. One of them's at the plate, and the other one's standing in left field.
Well, Carlos doesn't let too many go by.
No.
Fans here up on their feet, over 28,000 of them. Trying to get Thornton to end this one.
Good try. Kinsler appears to be a rhythm hitter. And when you get a rhythm hitter, you got to try to do something to take him out of it. 2 on, 2 out, the 2-2 pitch.
Well, now the problem is you give the base runners a chance and you take the force out of the equation. There's Omar Vizquel waiting on deck to lead off next inning.
Payoff pitch. That's into right field, and it's going to fall. So this game is tied as the walk has jumped up and really hurt because it forced Saltalamacchia, who had singled with 2 out, into scoring position. Base on balls.
That one off the end of the bat. He breaks the bat, but he drives in his 28th run. And from the Southwest RoboCam, we'll take a look at a little looper just over the diving Chris Getz's glove. And that walk to Andrus was destructive.
Yeah, it's just when you walk the 9th place hitter, and in this case twice in this game, there's a reason he's hitting 9th.
Well, in his case, he's 20 years old and he still hasn't really figured out the major leagues. But he's been on base all 3 times and twice via the walk.
And this is no day at the beach at the plate in situations like this. Omar, 1 for 3. He was 2 for 5 last night with a couple of RBIs. And really a good grip hitter. Fouls that one away, and by grip I mean 2-0-3-1, and that's what he did last night. Both times a 3-1 count.
And both times he hit a bullet to right field. Second time taking it down the line into the corner for a double.
Omar's thinking is just about as good as anybody you can get. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, with Roberto Alomar, who was as smart as any player who ever put a pair of spikes on. He knew everything that was going on in a ball game. He knew exactly what every situation was, and Vizquel was close to that. Now the count 2-1.
Well, one of the sad parts about this is that John Danks, who was brilliant tonight, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings with just a run on 4 hits, will not get the win.
Well, what we're trying to do right now is keep Matt Thornton or somebody else to get the loss from getting the loss.
Yeah. The time he had Vizquel well out in front of it, and he fouled it down the line.
Runners at the corners, 2 down. Kinsler 8 for 9 in stolen bases. He does not go, and there's a fastball at 95, foul back.
I'm a little surprised that Kinsler hasn't gone, because you got good speed at third base in case AJ throws through.
I think Ron Washington, up to this point, has just said that Omar is going to get him in, but he pops it up to center field. And the walk really jumped up and hurt right there as the base hit by Kinsler. 7th inning stretch, tied at 2.
For Baltimore beating the Yankees 11-5. Detroit 2-0 over Cleveland in the 7th. Minnesota 9-5 over Seattle in the 6th. No score in the first inning out in Anaheim. The Mets beat Pittsburgh 10-1. Atlanta 6-2 winners over Philadelphia. The Dodgers clobbered San Francisco 8-0. 3-2 Milwaukee over the Cubs in the 6th. Houston leading San Diego 2-1 in the 7th. And Cincinnati has doubled up St. Louis 4-2 in the 6th. Florida 1-0 over Colorado, that game in the 4th.
And a big swing and a miss by Josh Fields leading off here in the bottom of the 7th in a 2-2 tie. And once again, Kevin Millwood doing his thing for his staff.
He's gone into the 7th, but he's trying for the 7th time to go at least 7 innings.
That's a 92nd pitch.
It's only happened one other time in Ranger history, and that was by Kenny Rogers, who did it in the same season, at least 7 innings in 7 consecutive starts.
Well, you know, I'm just sitting here as we're talking about it thinking there's got to be one guy out there watching tonight, watching this game and having us and the Texas announcers talk about, well, this will be the 94th pitch thrown up here by Kevin Millwood. And he's saying, what are these guys talking about? And he is the president of the Texas Rangers. That's Nolan Ryan. I'd like to have a dozen golf balls for every time he threw 200 or more pitches in the game.
Well, he would get
175.
I said Nolan would get to the 94th pitch. He'd just get there a little more quickly. It would be the 4th inning, sometimes the 5th inning, and he would just keep it rolling. But he used his legs as well as anybody could.
Well, the two poster guys that were using their legs in modern day baseball have been Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver.
And that's one of the reasons why both of them lasted so long. I always felt if your legs can take you the first 6, your arm will take you the last 3. But if your legs give out, they're going to knock you out of the game.
Alexei? Well, the one phrase you don't hear in a blue moon, once in a blue moon you'll hear it in today's game that was, I mean, commonplace in years past is he doesn't use his lower back enough. He doesn't use his lower back enough. He's got to use his lower back more, because the more you use your lower back, the more you use your legs. The more you use your legs, the easier it is on your arm.
There's no question.
The 2-1 pitch. That's flared into right field. Cruz coming on is there. 2 down. I've talked to more than a few pitching coaches over the past 20, 25 years. And I've asked them point blank, do you believe in guys using their lower backs? And the majority have said no.
Well, if you've got straight up pitchers, that more times than not leads to arm injuries.
And it leads to a lot of hanging breaking balls, and it leads to a lot of high fastballs.
Well, what's surprising to me is you've got 2 distinct differences in hitters and pitchers, and yet they're so similar, because for hitters it's legs and hands. For pitchers it's legs and hands. If you show me a hitter that's going to hit with his arms and his upper body, he doesn't have much of a chance. He's got to drive with his legs and use and trust his hands. Pitchers vary the same way. You don't need big biceps. Prefer bigger legs.
Breaking ball. That's a good one. Well, that's a good explanation, because it's right on the money when they're so similar in those 2 elements.
And yet they're such different components of the game.
Millwood has just been missing that inside corner to left-handers, outside corner to right-handers by an inch or 2 all night long.
Well, Scott has played Pepper with Andrus 3 different times. I think he should try somebody else.
Full count.
Chris gets in the on-deck circle. And after he got hit in the 3rd, he scored the first Sox run.
And here's the ball 4 base hit. Popped up. Left side. Easy inning for Millwood. And we are into the 8th.
Celebrate women's health at Walgreens this May. Receive a booklet with 5 important women's health tips and valuable savings when you donate to the American Cancer Society in store, or celebrate by visiting walgreens.com/give5get5.
It's the top of the 8th inning. 2-6-0 for the bad guys. 2-5-1 for our White Sox.
And Scott Linebrink comes into the game, and he'll be the 3rd Sox pitcher of the night. So Linebrink on for the 11th time.
Marlon Byrd will be glad to see somebody else out there, because he saw Johnny Danks 3 times and didn't fare too well.
3 times, no contact.
Big rip by Marlon. Finale tomorrow afternoon. Bartolo Colon against Vicente Padilla. So make your plans to be with us here at beautiful U.S. Cellular Field. If you can't, that game will be over Comcast Sportsnet.
When you have a .314 batting average and a .317 on base percentage, that pretty much tells me that you're going to be swinging.
Gap out there in left center. Back through the middle. Scott was not anywhere near in shape to make a play right there.
Now, when that ball comes right back at you, you've got to be able to at least knock it down. And that came back right on the glove side. I think he'd be the first to tell you that he should have had that ball. If that comes to you one hop on the glove side, you have to make that play. The throwing arm side gives you a problem sometimes.
Here's Andrew Jones, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. After that game tomorrow, Sox will once again board that charter.
Boy, it seems like that thing's in our driveway.
Wow. Yeah. We're going to go out. We're going to have 3 in Cleveland. And the count 2-0 to Jones. Then we're going to have an off day on the 14th, Thursday the 14th. That will be in Toronto. And then we're going to play the Blue Jays for 4 games up there. Friday the 15th is a night game. The rest of them are all day games. There goes the runner. AJ? No.
Pretty good effort by AJ that time, but Sox have still only thrown out 1 base runner this year. A very long, slow delivery by Linebrink.
Second stolen base of the game.
Yep, and he's there well ahead of the tag.
Popped up, Paulie. Paulie's going to make the catch. Now get set. He will. Attaboy, Paulie. 1 out. Well, stealing a base today is, in certain situations, much easier than it was in years past. And the reason being is you have relievers. So many relievers coming into the game. You got a 6th inning guy. You got a 7th inning guy. You got an 8th inning guy. You got a 9th inning guy. And the only thing these guys are focused on is that 1 inning of getting the hitter out. Consequently, we're seeing each and every passing year, this is one of the things that you and I both have been privileged to have been in this game for so long. Nefa, we got 88 years between us. I got 50 years. You're seeing it. Guys are paying less attention to runners than they ever have in the past. Each and every passing year gets worse.
Well, if you're going to be a 1 inning guy, you better make sure they can't steal against you. The reason being quite obvious, a stolen base sometimes loses you a ball game, especially when it comes late when you don't have a chance to make it up.
Well, that's part of my point is the fact if you're a 1 inning guy, it should be a big part of your arsenal, because you're only pitching 1 inning. We're seeing guys today not even look at runners. And I mean guys on our own staff, not just the other teams, the guys on the White Sox as well.
Well, Bird hadn't stolen a base all year. He stole one right here, which could prove costly. And Vizquel hadn't stolen a base all year, and he's stolen 2 in 2 games. And that's part of the advanced scouting report. I mean, that is just a product of people watching this team, timing our pitchers, and saying, if you get in this situation, you go against this guy or that guy.
That's into left center field. Scotty Podge is there. So Cruz is retired, 2 down. But as you have seen and I have seen in our long time in this game, Steve Stone, we have seen guys who absolutely under no circumstances could hold runners close. They just couldn't do it. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's the truth. I'm sure you've heard pitchers say, well, I can't use the slide step. That was Don Drysdale, Hall of Famer, my former partner. His biggest pet peeve in this game was when a pitcher would say, I can't pitch using the slide step with a man on first or second.
Well, one of the most important things is for any pitching coach or whatever level you are at is understanding that you're going to try to get a guy to have the same velocity and the same movement with a slide step as he does with a big leg kick. And to that end, he's got to continually work on a slide step. And very rarely will you see guys throwing in the bullpen and practice a slide step.
So here's Murphy. Takes first pitch strike on the outside corner. A nice pitch by Scott Linebrink. Murphy, 0 for 3. He has the hat trick tonight.
Well, what you figure that Don Cooper might have said was, look, throw away from this guy. If he gets a base hit, let him get it to left field, and maybe we can throw Bird out.
One and one. Two out, 2 on, 2-2 tie. That's up high. Two one pitch. Big rip by Murphy right there, up out over the plate. Pretty good pitch for him to hit, and couldn't do anything with it.
I think Scott would like to wipe him out right here. You're at 2-2. If you make it happen this pitch, you don't have the runners going, and you still have a shot, if there is a base hit, on throwing Bird out.
Well, as you just said, if he's got a pitch as a swinging can't hit pitch, this is the time to throw it.
Well, that splitter, if he can get over the outside part of the plate, he can get him out. But whatever you want to do, I think, if you want to stay away, we'll see what A.J. wants.
Well, use the old swing and miss pitch. That's off the end of the bat into right field. And he pitches out of it. So that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Getz, Quinton, and Dye.
Rangers May 10th. To purchase your individual game tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com. Chris Getz will lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Game tied at 2. It'll be Getz, Quentin, and Dye. Chris is 0 for 2. And he was hit by a pitch and scored our first run back in the 3rd inning.
And Blaylock is right on the line and even with the bag at first base. Vizquel, same thing at 3rd.
There's a good way to start it. Number 17. Line shot, base hit in the center field. Also, kids, visit your friendly neighborhood Culver's restaurant. Enter the Kid of the Game sweepstakes for your chance to announce play ball from the field prior to a White Sox game. Visit your local Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Culver's restaurants for details.
Well, there's the go-ahead and potential winning run. Getz has good speed, and Carlos has crushed the ball tonight.
He's 2 for 3, 2 doubles, an RBI, and a run scored. Outfield there deep, spread out, and swung around to the left. Getz with that good speed at first. That ball hit hard but foul. So the count 0-1, and you can follow your team on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at @2009, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcast. Visit whitesox.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase.
I'm one of the best at that, you know.
You are awesome.
Mr. Technology.
Nice play by Saltalamacchia. Boy, that was picture perfect right there.
Well, Saltalamacchia has really improved that aspect of his game. There was no doubt he was going to hit, and he can hit from both sides of the plate. That's one of the reasons why he was probably the key in the deal that they pulled off with Atlanta, and Teixeira went to the Braves. But he's really improved his defense, and that time, I mean, he's a big man. He moved his body, coasted to his right, and kept that ball in front of him.
Yeah, that was picture perfect. Big pitch, the 1-1. A little bit of a late call right there. Carlos didn't particularly appreciate it, and the count 1-2. So advantage, Millwood.
Lance Barksdale makes a very late call. And not only was it inside, but you saw that Saltalamacchia pulled it down into the zone.
Double-barreled activity.
And O'Day, the sidearm right-hander, Holland, the left-hander.
Yeah, when you think the umpire has missed a 1-1 pitch, especially in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning in a tie ball game, it really, I can't say it over the air, it really makes you mad.
Well, that catcher's going to tell you. And he got hit with a quick pitch. And Millwood, that's exactly what Millwood tried to do. He tried to catch Carlos Quentin looking down, and he quick pitched him and lost command of the pitch. That could turn out to be a game loser for Millwood. And watch it again.
Well, that's more of a case right there. Carlos more or less letting the ball hit him.
Well, he doesn't mind getting hit quite as much as some of the rest of us might. Well, the one year when he got hit 42 times, I mean, quite obviously, his team colors, if they were black and blue, it'd fit in nicely, but he stands right over the plate, and when the ball comes inside, now that ball was riding up and in. And watch Millwood. You see what he did there? Instead of coming to a set, he actually balked by quick pitching, but because he sped up his delivery home to catch Carlos looking down, he hit him with it.
And here's Jermaine Dye. He's 1 for 2. Had an RBI double, knocking in Quentin back in the 6th inning. So 2 on, nobody out. And there's a strike on the inside corner. Now you got to cinch it up and hunker down 23.
And you got a guy at first base that's most unhappy about getting hit again, who on a ground ball in the infield is going to try to park the pivot man in the outfield.
Well, he's going to do that, but a little extra verve.
And Jermaine almost got hit by that one, but Jermaine was trying to cover the outside corner. And this one missed him.
Well, that ball only about 4 or 5 inches inside.
Well, that wasn't all that far inside.
No,
in fact, he got his head out of the way. What it almost hit were the hands.
Well, you said it earlier. He was looking for something away. It's just like Carlos might be one of the few guys in this league that would have been hit by that particular pitch right there from Millwood.
Well, that's the 8th time he's been hit. So he's got half the team's hit batsman.
There's a shot into right field, base hit. They're going to have to hold the runner because Getz had to wait and make sure that Cruz was not going to get to it and make the catch. Dadgummit.
Well, that's not a bad base running play because.
No, I'm talking about it. The ball just hung up too long.
If it could have been either side of him, that's one thing. But Jermaine hit the ball right on the nose. You don't know if it's going to carry to Cruz, and Getz did the right thing. The Sox, who've been doubled off out of 2 innings already, and Getz didn't want to make it a third, so Jermaine doesn't drive home his second run of the game, but that loads the bases with nobody out.
Well, Washington goes out to take him out. A reminder, Sunday, May 10th at 1:05, White Sox versus the Rangers. First 10,000 ladies receive a pink White Sox drawstring bag from Walgreens and the American Cancer Society. So for tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit And right now, let's check out our U.S. Cellular text poll question. Will the Sox finish this season with a winning home record? A, yes, 65%. B, no, 35%. But right here, pitching change, Stone Pony.
And it's Derek Holland who comes on. ERA 2.16, on for the 5th time. It's not overpowering. Has yet to throw a wild pitch. He inherits the bases loaded. Nobody out. Getting his now set of signs figured out with Jared Saltalamacchia. First man he's going to look at with a drawn-in infield is going to be Jim Thome.
And these two have seen each other before this year. Did not check it up. Yes, he did go that time. Last time Jim Thome saw young Derek Holland down in Texas. And very quickly the count 0-2.
Last time he saw him with the bases loaded, Jim doubled against him. But he's in a hole. And sometimes, in an effort to try to stay away and make a waste pitch, you throw it in the dirt. So heads up at third, Chris Getz.
They're going to come to the plate, and they just do get him. Ozzie says, no, here he comes.
And it looked to me like Getz came in ahead of the throw. The bat shattered. Kinsler, knowing he couldn't get to the conventional way, came home with it. And Lance Barksdale said he got him. So Ron Washington coming out. That's all he wanted from Holland. And we'll watch it again. He's out.
I thought he got him. From up here,
him.
It looked like he got him from where I was sitting. I've got a little different angle than you do.
Yeah, no, he got him on the replay, and Kinsler made a good play.
All right, Holland's gone, and we'll be back.
You could tell it right there that he did get him. Off balance throw by Kinsler. And for the moment, it stays a tie game as Darren O'Day comes into this one, the sidearm right-hander facing Paul Konerko.
Now the Texas infield and double play depth.
And O'Day 1-0, ERA a scant 159, on for the 8th time. No wild pitches so far.
Paulie 1 for 3.
That just missed him.
Well, yeah, that might be a situation there.
That was one.
Take one for the club.
That was one where you lean away from it, but you actually move closer to the ball. Craig Biggio was a master at that, turning away from the pitch, but actually getting closer to it and getting hit.
Fernando Vina,
another guy did the same thing.
Meanwhile, it's a 1-0 count. Pull the string on it and hit him way out in front. So now big pitch coming up to 1-1. Outfield straight up. Rangers looking for a ground ball. Now the count 1-2. So advantage O'Day. Come on, Paulie, bristle up right here. And that's low. 2-2. A.J. on deck.
No left-hander up in the bullpen with A.J. in the on-deck circle.
And a full count. And right now, a great opportunity to squeeze it.
Well, O'Day has to get the ball up. Normally, he'd like to throw it at the knees and drop it to the shoe tops, but if Paul lays off that, that's ball 4. Now Paul's looking for something about belt high or thigh high that he can put a good swing on.
If he takes something off that breaking ball, it's going to be awful hard for Paulie to lay off of it. Squeeze time. Nice and easy, Paulie. Nice and easy. Stay back. Came at him with the sinker.
Well, that's his best pitch, and that's what he's going to do. That ball actually would have wound up as ball 4, but you can't take that pitch. That looks like a strike all the way, and at the end, the bottom falls out of it. That's why these guys get so many ground balls when they throw from down there.
2-7-0 for the Rangers, 2-7-1 for us. 1 out, sacks packed. And the payoff pitch. There's that breaking ball into center field. Marlon Byrd getting in shape. Here he comes. Here's the throw. Safe. Tag the bag. Tag it. Tag the home. Sox lead it 3-2. Good job by Paulie staying with that 3-2 slider.
Well, he got just enough of it, and you wanted to hit it anywhere but to Cruz in right field. It's a good thing that Saltalamacchia was not in the way of Carlos Quentin, because he came in to bury him, and Byrd bobbles that ball, can't get a grip on it, and it's that extra step that allowed Carlos Quentin to score. Throw bounds over the head. Now there's no call by Lance Barksdale. In his opinion, Carlos didn't touch the plate. And you see, when the umpire makes no call, usually means he didn't get it.
It looked like he was telling AJ he got the plate. Meanwhile, there's a shot. That good, just foul.
That was a great at bat by Paul Konerko, because you take a submariner and you make him get the ball belt high where you can hit a fly ball, instead of putting a sinker in play and hitting a ground ball.
He did a great job staying with that 3-2 slider right there. It's tough to do in that situation from a submarine guy. And here's the 0-1 pitch. Oh, mercy. He had another good pitch to hit and just underneath it. And White Sox Diamond Suites are perfect for client entertainment, family parties, or a night out with friends. Provide first-class service while enjoying White Sox baseball. Reserve a Diamond Suite today. Call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com for more details. Oh, 0-2 the count. 2 on. Got him upstairs, but the terrific at bat by Paul Konerko knocks in Carlos Quentin. We'll go to the 9th. It is a 3-2 Sox lead.
what happens. I mean, if the guy doesn't miss it, he's going to hit it in the air. Bobby Jenks on, looking for save number 7. His 11th appearance, a 1.80 ERA. It was Danks, Thornton, Linebrink, and now Jenks. And Bobby gets a chance to nail it down as the Sox have retaken the lead.
Saltalamacchia, 1 for 3, a single and a run scored, will start it off. Elvis Andrus on deck. Big hack by the 23-year-old switch hitting catcher. Pide's fairly deep in center. Bit of a gap out there in left center. Josh even with a bag and well off the line at third. There you see Paulie guarding the line at first. Good breaking ball in the count 0-2.
Last couple of times out, it appears that Bobby's getting that curveball back. And if he gets that over, along with his cutter and his fastball, which is now around 95, he's going to be even tougher.
The 0-2 pitch. That one up at 95. If you're just tuning in, Johnny Danks was just outstanding. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, had 10 punch outs. Good job by Saltalamacchia right there.
Those 10 strikeouts, a career high for John Danks.
6 innings.
He reached double figures in 6 innings. And that won't be the last time you'll see that. His stuff tonight was as good as it was at any time last year. That straight change was just devastating.
It was awesome.
He was real good.
And that fastball high. 2-2. Yeah, that was what you call right there a power changeup he was throwing tonight. And the last left-handed power changeup we saw in this league is pitching for the Mets now.
And Johan Santana, the best Rule 5 claim in history, turned it into about a $120 million contract.
Take him right here, Bobby. Saltalamacchia just putting the pedal to the metal, turning it loose.
Yeah, these are not defensive swings. He's reaching back and getting whatever he's got and letting it all go.
Outfield swung around to the left. And the 2-2. He gone. Big out. Pull a string on it.
And a big curveball. Saltalamacchia looking heat all the way. It just disappears low and in. And Bobby took a little something off that curveball.
Boy, when you change speeds on that curveball, a pitch that you were a master at, that really is effective.
Well, especially when you're throwing 95. So Chris Davis gets a chance to come on and pinch hit. And here's a young man who strikes out a lot, but has as much power as anybody on his team. Just throw it up there, Bobby, and you'll have no problems whatsoever.
Another 23-year-old good-looking young player for the Rangers. This young man, if he ever gets the click, he's going to be a monster.
Well, he's 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter with a run batted in.
And the count 0-2. Kinsler on deck.
I don't think you need a breaking ball here. You can throw it if you want, but a letter high fastball, maybe a little bit higher, and you'll catch an over anxious youngster expanding his zone and swinging through it.
He gone. Just like Stoney called, but this guy coming to the plate, another issue, another story about he is the best fastball hitter on this team.
Yeah, and he's a dead first ball fastball hitter. And now you have 28,000 plus on their feet, looking for the Sox to wrap it up with 1 more out.
Kinsler is 1 for 4 with an RBI. Watch out.
That ball went behind him, I believe, and now they're warning Bobby Jenks. Wait a second.
For what?
It's a one-run game. That's the tying run, and you're warning the closer because he let one get away?
That is absolute. This is what really grates me is you got to get some umpires who know what the devil is going on in a baseball game.
Well, that's astounding to me.
That's ridiculous.
Because if you're going to throw at a guy and you decide you need to throw at a guy, it's going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be the tying run in the 9th inning with 2 outs with a guy that can steal bases like Kinsler can steal them. That's just a lack of understanding by Lance Barksdale, and Ozzy's going out there and saying, I know you've seen a lot of games, Lance. Why are we going to throw at one of the best base stealers in the league representing the tying run with 2 outs in the 9th inning?
That is an absolute idiotic decision. That's what that is. He can sit there and talk to Ozzy till he's blue in the face, and nothing good will come out of his mouth.
Well, Ozzy's incensed because Ozzy knows exactly what's going on. He knows every aspect of this game, and if he needs to have some sort of get-even type pitch, it's not going to be in this situation here.
I'll tell you, this is something's got to be done about this. We saw Mark Burley thrown out of the game, hitting a guy with a breaking ball. We saw an opposing pitcher hit one of our guys with a breaking ball. Slow curve get thrown out of the game. One and one to count. Boy, that's ridiculous. Give me a break. And the count 1-2. Now throw a hook on him and let's get this thing sent up to Cooperstown. That's ridiculous.
Kinsler looking for his 25th strikeout of the year.
That's popped up, and when this ball comes down, this game is over. Bobby Jenks comes on, strikes out. Salta LaMacchia strikes out Davis and gets Kinsler to pop up. Sox win it 3-2, and we'll be back.